What kept you grounded and focused to get to the next level? And how did the military help you from a leadership standpoint?
Grounded and focused is God. That's number one. I'm very rooted in faith. I have a very deep belief in God, and that's what's kept me going. You know, I've had a lot of ups and downs. And then the military is literally, I think for any young man or woman who has even the slightest interest, I'd say go do it. Because it's going to set you up 2 or 3 steps ahead of your peers, because it teaches you the concept of delayed gratification. You learn to put mission and other people above yourself. So in the Navy, there's this concept, it's ship, shipmate, self. What it teaches you to do is be part of something greater than yourself and serve a mission that's greater than yourself. And I think that, especially in entrepreneurship, if you're not serving anything that's bigger than you, you're not going to get very far.
We're so stoked about today's episode. We're going to introduce to you Adit Shah. His story is amazing, from military experience to entrepreneur, and how his mindset and his grit has helped him achieve success through some really big failures. But he doesn't look at it that way. So let's go.
You know, one of the things that I absolutely love about networking is in meeting people is the extension of those individuals. And you came into our world through an extension of another individual that was here, which I absolutely loved. And I am so glad that he brought you too, because I think your story at a young age and all the things that you have accomplished thus far are impressive. So, and you are in a industry that we are very familiar with. So we are able to have really great conversations, and thank you for joining us.
No, that really means the world, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
So I want to have the audience get to know you a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your background, a little bit about your journey, and then let's go deep.
Totally. Yeah, my name's Adit Shah. I'm a 30-year-old real estate developer from San Diego, California. I'm the son of 2 Indian immigrants who came to this country with 350 United States dollars in one suitcase between the two. Growing up, I had a really big case study, hands-on trench level experience with entrepreneurship. My dad risked it all a few times, swung for the fences, hit a few times, missed once, but he left his corporate job to buy Subway restaurants in North Carolina. We were living in New Jersey, went to North Carolina. So from the time I was 8 to 10, I was the shop boy. I was sweeping, mopping. And then my dad exited that business to partner with my mom, who was a pharmacist, to start a pharmacy right after the '08 crash. So in the '08 crash, my parents lost every single dollar of their life savings at the time to a bad real estate syndication. And they opened a pharmacy that was just extremely successful, but I got my licks in at that pharmacy. You know, I put together shelves, I waxed the floors, I went out and handed flyers to people. It was the worst part, roughest neighborhood in town. But what it did was it gave me the bug, and I knew in that moment that I would never work a real job. I had a scholarship to go become a pharmacist, and I did what every Indian parent's nightmare is, and I joined the military.
Oh my goodness.
So I joined the military. I did 6 years in the military, had a phenomenal time. I visited, nearly 16 countries before my 20th birthday.
Oh, wow.
And I was in charge of 30 people when I was 22 years old. So it was the combination of my childhood and the military set me up for the next chapter, which was real estate development. When I got out of the military, I went and worked for a real estate developer for free. I had only one marketable skill. I had no college degree, no network, no money. I had one marketable skill, and that was I could fix anything. Anything within these 4 walls or outside, I could get a set of tools and fix it. So I started working for free for this real estate developer as a handyman. He hired me as a property manager. He hired me as a project manager. And 7 years and about $30 million in assets later, we're here. And I founded a fully vertically integrated real estate development company and dedicated my life to solving San Diego's housing crisis.
Wow. That is impressive, considering that you're only 30 years old.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it really is. So tell me, through all that experience, what kept you grounded and focused to get to the next level? And how did the military help you from a leadership standpoint?
So hindsight is 2020, and I didn't know at the time, but grounded and focused is God. That's number one. Is I'm very rooted in faith. I have a very deep belief in God, and that's what's kept me going. You know, I've had a lot of ups and downs, which I'm sure we'll unpack, but that was number one. And then the military is literally, I think for any young man or woman who has even the slightest interest, I'd say go do it, because it's going to set you up 2 or 3 steps ahead of your peers, because it teaches you the concept of delayed gratification. And it also teaches you something where you have this mindset where you just work because that's what the mission is. So you learn to put mission and other people above yourself. So in the Navy, there's this concept. It's ship, shipmate, self. So number one is the ship. We're all in a ship. Number two is your shipmate, meaning you guys, right? So you guys are first, and then me comes last, right? Now, when you get out in the civilian world, you need to learn how to put your own oxygen mask on first. But what it teaches you to do is be part of something greater than yourself and serve a mission that's greater than yourself. And I think that, especially in entrepreneurship, if you're not serving anything that's bigger than you, you're not going to get very far.
Oh, I love that, because in this world of entrepreneurship, it's a dogfight. But what I've noticed that the ones that really make it really are the ones that share that same thing in philosophy that you just shared with our audience. And so I am all about impact. How can the work that I've done and what I've done all my life can impact others to elevate them as well? And I wish more people will share that mission that you're speaking of.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, money, have made a decent amount of it by age 30. I'm so grateful to God that I have lost even more. It's came and it's gone, but what stayed is exactly that, is the impact.
Yeah, I love that. And, you know, for our audience to understand that statement, truly, you'd have to have been, when we first met, the first words out of your mouth almost were, how can I serve you?
Yes.
And we didn't even know you yet. So you walk the walk, you speak the speak, and you get it done. And for people that are ultimately wanting to learn, that's the type of people you need around you. And that's what we try to do at Trustedpreneurs. Is it's always about, how do I take the skills I have and offer them up to somebody else? And I love that you're grounded with the higher power, because to me, we all have a purpose out there. Sometimes it's not exactly open right away to what our purpose is, but it'll show up. I want to talk to you about a little bit of something you mentioned. You had 3 times, if I'm not mistaken, where you lost everything.
That's correct.
One, what was the mindset that you had at that point? I mean, at a young age, it would have been easier, and I think that's one of the things, it would have been easier for you just to go find a corporate job, right? But you kept grinding. How do you lose everything 3 times? And then what did you learn from it?
Yeah, so I won't go into the specifics of each single time this is what happened, but that's a great question, and I really want to highlight this, because a lot of times you listen to podcasts or whatever, YouTube, and you see the glam and you see Dubai and you see the jets, but there's some downs getting there. You know, the gravity of those downs are different for everyone, but it's not all peaches and roses, right? So the first time that I lost every single dollar to my name was in the cryptocurrency crash of 2018. So in 2017, I made E5 in the military, which is the biggest in the Navy, at least. It's the biggest pay jump. So you go from making $36,000 a year to 65. So you almost double your income. What I did was I slept on the floor in a friend's room in a sleeping bag for a year, and every single dollar I made, I put it into crypto.
Oh.
Every single dollar I made, I put it into crypto. I made a 12x return on the investment. You know, you can do the math.
Yeah.
Right? I deployed in 2018, and there was some frothiness in the market. And I went River City on the aircraft carrier, which means all internet communications are gone. By the time I logged back in, my portfolio was down 50%. I was just so audaciously faithful that I just let it ride, and it eventually went down almost to zero. Right. And the reason I kept going is because I decided when I made that decision that, you know what, I'm going to chuck this entire year of pay and I'm not going to go out and party and I'm not going to buy anything and I'm just going to eat ramen noodles and Vienna sausages, that I'm going to be wildly rich in my life at some point and I'm going to be wildly successful and I'm going to change this world. And if it's not now, it's going to be eventually. So I got to keep it stepping, you know? So it was that decision. I made a decision that year in 2017 that I will no longer ever be broke again in my life. And then someday that I'll have some sort of unimaginable wealth.
That's amazing.
Right? And that's kind of what's kept me going, is that decision. I'm going to get there, whether it's now or when I'm 50 or 60 or 70 years old. Sometime in this lifetime, I'm going to taste it.
I have no doubt you will.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know,
you.
the desire of, I mean, in that mindset is what sets you apart from people, the youth, because you're a Gen Z, right?
I'm like the end of millennials.
Oh,
Yeah.
are you?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're a young millennial.
Yeah.
Is that what they call
I'm
it?
right on the border. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
So, but 30 years old, I mean, we have a 33-year-old and we do have a 22-year-old, and their mindsets are totally different. And just to hear yours, wow, I mean, the youth should really tune into how it is that you can shift a mindset when you lose everything and still keep that faith. And not only that, I mean, that you embrace both sides, the suck and the incredible opportunities and glamorous lifestyle that you could have lived.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy that. There was a moment, you did mention that there was a moment you needed $600,000 in 48 hours.
Sure. So so now we're in 2018. Now let's go to 2022.
Oh.
So in
Okay.
2022, I learned how to raise money,
Okay.
which has been the skill that propelled my real estate journey. That year, from January to September, me and two partners bought $20 million worth of hotels, 2022. So I went from doing onesie, twosies deals once a year, twice a year, working for this developer, figuring it out, to in 9 months buying $20 million in assets. So like, on average, that might take somebody, which if you're watching this, if that takes you 5 years, that's fast.
Mhm.
$20 million assets under management, 5 years, fast. It's good. So I got 5 years worth of problems in 9 months as well. I had this characteristic that I've since outgrew, diluted, I'd rather say, is I would have this audacious confidence to figure things out. And since then, it's smacked me in the face a couple times. So I still have confidence, but now it's a little bit more measured. But I had nearly 6 figures of personal money, more than 6 figures of investor money in escrow as an earnest money deposit. My earnest money deposit was going to go hard, meaning non-refundable, in 3 days. And I needed $600,000 in escrow to avoid for that becoming non-refundable to the seller, and then possibly canceling escrow. Now, we had some time. They have to send you a buyer perform, whatever. I made a decision that if I lose my 6 figures, not a problem. Losing your own money sucks, but losing other people's money
Yes.
is the worst nightmare ever, right? So I'm like, I'm definitely not going to lose a dime of anyone else's money. So I started just hitting the phones. And this has been a skill that I go back to frequently. I pick up this phone and I go through my iMessage contact list, my Facebook, my Instagram, and I say, who do I know? And how can I get this problem solved? So I just started making phone calls, and I called a friend of mine, David Perret. He's one of the most outstanding human beings I know. He's a brother of mine. He has a big community network. He shopped it out. He called me back in an hour and he said, I think I have your money. Are you ready for a conference call? Imagine, so this is a stranger lending a 26-year-old kid $600,000. He's got 48 hours to make a decision. This is unsecured debt. It's a personal guarantee, but I ain't got $600,000 in assets, right? So I convinced him on that phone call to do it.
That's incredible.
That's amazing.
That really is. I'm going to call you when I'm ready to raise the $1 million that I need for our software.
Easy.
I want to kind of go back to something that you talked about, and when you kind of went through the process and you lost everything, and you said it, entrepreneurship is hard. It's not peaches and cream, right? And every day, your success ladder could take you longer. It could be shorter. You don't know, but you are going to hit that wall. And I know we've done it, and to push through is hard. And I think what entrepreneurs need to know, and, real estate is one of the most, I'm going to use the word, it's one of the most wicked businesses out there, because you don't know who to trust, who not to trust. And you do a little bit of blind faith. Yeah, you do your research, you do all this other stuff. But when you're bringing investor dollars in, right, now you're just trusting. And it's a hard business. So, talk to our audience about the entrepreneur mindset shift coming out of the military. You had a little bit because you saw it with your parents. And I think one of the other things that really taught you something is when your parents lose everything. Wow. You're learning a lot. So, but you saw how hard it was. How did you just keep pushing? I really want you to go deep for our audience on that, because I think that's what they don't understand is you're gonna have tough times.
Definitely. Like, both of you have been married for over 30 years, right?
No, 25.
25.
Yeah.
I was close.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Were you ever in love before you got married, like with someone else?
Not this type of love.
You know that now, but at the time, did you think it was real love?
No.
You didn't? Did you ever?
I'm not really sure.
Were you ever devastated by a breakup?
No.
No?
No.
I was once devastated by a breakup.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened was I was okay at the end of it.
Yeah.
Like, I thought my world was going to end. I lost all my money. I thought my world was going to end, but in the end, I was okay. And what I learned was no matter what happens to you, if you decide to be okay, you'll be just fine. If you've ever gone through any adversity, whether it's small, if you got into a fender bender, if the guy at the restaurant charged you $7 when he wasn't supposed to.
Nobody's supposed to know that story.
But like, funny. Like the example that I go back to is a breakup. Like, if you've ever been through a breakup and you're just like, I'll never love someone again, or I'll never find the right man or woman. Yes, you will. And it's the same thing. If you fall on your face, welcome to the circus, ladies and gentlemen. We have escaped the matrix.
Yeah.
It's not comfortable.
No, it's not.
It's not comfortable, and at no level is it comfortable, and it's not supposed to be comfortable, because comfortable is boring.
Right.
So if you separate yourself and you start becoming the observer of your life, and you just realize, I've already decided here that I'm going to be a centimillionaire someday. What the hell does this have to do with that? Nothing. This is just a blip in the road. I'll probably not even remember it when I'm on my yacht.
It's so true.
It's
so true.
So that's kind of the mindset that I've programmed myself to believe. And that's really kept me going in the face of adversity, that this is just now, right? I'm still enjoying the present fully. I'm still very cognizant of my weaknesses and strengths in the present. I'm distilling every bit of adversity that comes in my face down into life lessons, things that I need to change about myself to get to the next level. But that's all I'm looking at is it's just lessons. Mm-hmm. This is just data. There's no failure. There's no success. It's just data. We're putting inputs into life. We're getting data back, and we're adjusting course. But the end goal is not changing. We're going to get there one way or the other.
I love that.
Yeah, I really do. And discomfort is where we grow. No, it does not feel good. It really doesn't. But we don't know that at the time. Like you said, why, right? I mean, oftentimes, I don't know, have you ever asked, why does that have to happen?
I did. And, in the Bible, there's this verse, it says, he will make all things beautiful in his time, right? Mm-hmm. It's just literally like, I used to think like, why is this happening to me? Why is life happening to me? And I kind of had to, because of the times that I've faced adversity, I faced a fork in the road. I could be like, either I can fall into this victim mindset trap, which I have before.
Everybody does.
And I still do sometimes, right? Full transparency, I'm human. But that's not going to get me to my goal of where I want to go. And I think that, we can bring one more thing out of this, is having a very clear vision. Yesterday morning, I had a really good talk with my buddy Joe Moffitt, who's a mindset coach. He's coached, 8-figure organizations and pro athletes and all kinds of people. And we were talking about, finding a life partner. And he said, well, how did you build your business to this day? What did you do? I said, oh, well, the last time that I tried something in business and it didn't work. I sat down with my journal and I wrote down, what does my dream organization look like? How much money am I making? What kind of clothes am I wearing? Where am I living? What am I doing? And 90% of those things came true. And he's like, well, you got to do the same thing with your dream woman. Write down exactly what she's like. Where is she from? All these different things. So like, if you don't have a clear vision about what do you want your body to be like? What do you want your life partner to be like? What do you want your business to be like? What do you want your relationship with God to be like? What do you want your relationship with your community to be like? If you write those things down clearly, anytime that you hit a little bump in the road, you just look back at it and you're like, no, this is just because this isn't what I wanted, right? So like I wasn't meant to be a cryptocurrency millionaire, at age 22. Because at that time, I would have probably just ended up losing it some other way.
That is such a great way of really viewing that, because that is 100% accurate. Oftentimes we are in positions that we want something and we almost can be there and to get it, but that's not the right time. And timing is everything. And as long as we're welcoming that mindset to understand that just because it didn't happen, like you said, through cryptocurrency, doesn't mean that I'm not going to be a millionaire ever, or I'm not worthy of it. It's just that it wasn't the right time, because your immaturity at the time would have blown that money. You would have lost it anyways.
Sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's just the way it works, really enjoy kind of peeling that onion, because I've done a lot of work on that. And, the invitation that I gave you the other day, I hope you can make it at some point, because you're going to hear a lot about that, But I am curious about your program and how is it that you bring investors in and how they make money. And one of the questions that you answered was about that there was a time that although you didn't make any money, you chose to pay your investors. Talk to me about that. Unpack that for me.
Sure. So these last 5 years or so, I've been doing what's called real estate syndication. And it's basically, I give people the opportunity to passively invest in real estate. So let's say somebody's a busy corporate professional. They've got $250,000 in their IRA. They're making 6 or 7% a year. And they want to get into real estate, but they're not going to leave their 9 to 5 for it, right? Because they're making $300,000-400,000 a year. It doesn't make sense. It's going to take you 10 years to do that in real estate. But what they would do is they would approach someone like me and say, Adit, I'm really interested in what you've got going on in San Diego, these real estate developments. I would like to invest passively. They can do it through their retirement account with their brokerage or savings. And they basically end up owning a piece of that asset and project with me, and they get a passive return. I do all the work, and I make their money work for them. The point of paying investors back, when people invest with me, it's risk capital, meaning it's equity, it's not debt. I've taken both and I still do, but in this context, it's equity, meaning if it goes up, they get the upside. If it goes down, they lose it. And it has gone down before. I have blood on me, right? And it's funny, I met this billionaire at the Tesla dealership. I was getting my car serviced, and so was he. He sits down next to me, and I ended up talking to him for like 3 hours. And one thing that he told me, he started asking me about what I'm doing. And first he asked me, he said, tell me about the last time that a project went bad. And I told him. And he said, okay, yeah, that's good. He's like, yeah, well, here's my, family office manager. Give him a call, send him your pro forma.
Oh.
And I said, why'd you ask me about why a project went bad? Don't you want to hear about when a project went good? He's like, everyone talks about when a project goes good. Everyone's going to have blood on them in some point, especially in real estate.
Yeah.
I don't want you getting blood on me. So if you're already bloody, I'll invest with you.
That's an interesting perspective.
It's a great way.
So I've been through it, right? And I've already fell on my face to know what's wrong. And I have paid risk capital back. I don't want to advertise that I do that because
of course,
there's only so much. But I have paid it back and continue to pay it back because I'm only 30 years old and I can't strike out in my first inning.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm playing a 20-year game, it makes sense to make zero money in the first 5 to 7 years. If I have made some, thank God, but if I'm playing a 20-25 year game, I should spend the first 5. It makes complete sense to spend the first 5 building credibility, experience, and track record.
Being that you said that, and your goal to have unlimited wealth basically is where you want to be, you said something about revenue as being a vanity metric.
Mm.
That kind of seems off to me that you would say that, but why to you is that a vanity metric?
Yeah, unpack that.
Yeah. So I've shifted gears recently. I still do a lot of real estate development. I have one active syndication right now, but I decided earlier this year to step away from raising money and, stop doing that full time and scale my construction company.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And this is my first year in construction. I'll close this year $1 million in revenue. Guess how much of it I kept?
I'm guessing 0.
Close to 0.
Why
Right?
is that?
It's my first year. I'm figuring it out. I made a lot of costly mistakes. I had clients not pay me. I overpaid subs. I took on some risky debt that I had to pay back. I did everything wrong this year, but I got the data. I measured every single thing that I did wrong. And
Amazing.
And I sold $1 million this year. Next year, if I sell 5, that'd be normal, So revenue is the vanity metric in the sense that if you're starting out in business, for me at least, it's really easy to pick up the phone and make money. That's my superpower as a founder, as the front man. 4 months ago in August, my construction company ran out of money. So we ran out of money. I had a $5,500 a week payroll at the time. Granted, we had sold by then maybe $500,000, and I had 2 options. I could either give up, or I could reach into my pocket, my personal savings, which is a whole nother lesson, and keep the company going for a very long time. But I said, you know what? I'm going to do this without reaching into my own pocket. And I got on the phone and I started calling people. And that month I sold 60 grand. The next month I sold 70. In November, I sold 120 grand. This month so far, I've sold $500,000. In contracts. That's not not realized revenue, but it's contracts. It's sales closed. Construction, the revenue is over 9 to 12 months as a project unfolds. But I'll set up I've already got $1 million in revenue damn near for next year. But it's like, how much of that am I going to keep? So this is the challenge now. People who are watching this, especially if you're established in business and you've already kind of identified your zone of genius, you're going to fall into 2 categories. You're going to be like me. I am chaos. I thrive in chaos. I'm very good at complex problem solving. I'm very good at keeping my blood pressure normal when the world is falling apart. And I'm very good at selling.
So your nervous system, you have control of your nervous system.
Correct. Yeah. I can get on the phone and make money today, tomorrow, every day of the week. I'll never go hungry. However, I struggle with the fulfillment. I struggle with the operations. I'm very disorganized. That's how I am naturally. Those are things that I've had to develop, right? And I've also had to find team members who fill those gaps for me.
Right.
But revenue by itself is nothing because you can lose all of it if you're not good at fulfillment, right? The business's EKG is the P&L sheet. I'm really good up here. This number, I could pump that thing up without limit. I will do it. Everything in between, that's where I've had to develop myself consistently.
I want to just first applaud you on that. And the second is I want to kind of have a little conversation with our audience too, that this is a really valuable lesson, is that most entrepreneurs, when they start out, are already thinking about their paycheck. That's where they get conflict, right? Because in the first couple years of our first business, Madeline never got a paycheck. Literally, everything we did went back into the business to grow the business. Now, years later, the paycheck is so much different, right? And you have to realize that when you start a business, it's an investment. It's not an expense. It's an investment. And how you take advantage of that investment and how do you grow it is so important. And what I love about your story is you also don't want to reach into your personal pocket. You have to figure out how to make it work with the numbers you have. If you're not having enough sales, get on the phone, go get some sales. You may take 1,000 phone calls, but that's your job, right? And if you have a tough time with operations, then you need to either learn to fix it or hire somebody that can fix it, but you still have the same pool of money. That when you start dipping into your personal, that's risk.
Yep.
And now you're not going to get that money back because it's too easy. So entrepreneurship is the greatest exercise in investing in your, not only your business, but yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that at 30 years old, you got that down. And that's why you will be successful, because you're investing into your business the right way, not looking at the woe is me. You know what? Listen, we all have a skill. You've identified yours. Maximize it, right? I was curious where you were going to go with the vanity thing, because, you know, when you talk to a lot of people, right? Well, I'm a 6-figure, I'm a 7-figure business. Yeah, but what's your margin?
Correct.
Right? I'd rather talk to people about margin, right? What at the end of the day do I have, right? Because you can have a low-priced product, massive margins. You said it, fulfillment is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because you either get more business because of your fulfillment, or you lose the existing business and you don't get new business because of your fulfillment. So again, some great lessons are being taught in this episode. So thank you for that.
How can people find you? What is something that you want them to know and take away from all of this?
Yeah, definitely. Housebender on Instagram. Shoot me a DM. Happy to help anyone at any stage of their financial freedom journey. The one thing that I'll say is, if you're struggling, you're doing the right thing. In the beginning. Don't struggle your whole life. But if you're if you're less than 5 years into your business and you're facing adversity, it's usually normal. 90% of the time, it's very, very normal.
Yes.
You know, and we have the audacity to want to escape the matrix and be financially free and be our own boss. You have to walk the walk, like David mentioned, you know, and with it comes all of the stuff that's associated with being your own boss. But it's a huge privilege, because I would rather have these stressful moments, you know, than work for somebody else. Because I decided, you know, 3 weeks ago that I want to be here with my friends in Dallas today, you know, for a day. And next week, maybe I want to go up to Mammoth and snowboard if my knee's better. I'm only able to do that because there's no one who controls my time. And I'm willing to face any level of adversity for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful.
That is beautiful.
And you know what I like about that too is we talk a lot about, is it entrepreneurial freedom or is it entrepreneurial flexibility? And it's the flexibility entrepreneurship provides you. You still work your ass off. You still do all those things. And so
you said ass.
I did say ass. Anyway, that is a great place to finish, because that is a nugget that all of our audience needs to listen to.
Yeah.
It is the flexibility that provides you to being your own person, your own boss. You know, it's tough. It's not easy. But if you do it the right way and seek guidance when you need it, you will be successful. So guys, until next time,
let's get to work.